Reppin' Philly ain't a choice, it's a way of life. PhillyGoat.com is your one stop shop for Philly pride. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off. Look fresh, stay Philly, Philly Goat. Go Birds. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for July 3rd, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the podcast, the day before a holiday edition. Lots of people off work today, so go out, be safe, don't be an idiot today. But an interesting day for the Phils yesterday. They lost game one, 6-4. Mick Abel just did not have his command, walked a lot, 5 batters, I think, in 1+ innings. But I will give the team credit for battling back, being that it was a doubleheader the day before an off day. It would have been very easy for them to just pack it in, but they did battle back, had opportunities to score more than what they did, but they just couldn't overcome the start from Mick Abel. The bullpen did a solid job in relief of him. Again, especially with it being a doubleheader. Bryce got his first hit in that game back, so it was good to see him do that. Brandon Marsh was outstanding on the base paths, and he's really been hitting well lately. JT had 3 hits. Schwarber hit a bomb. So overall, it wasn't that bad. It was kind of, they could have very easily packed that in, I guess. And that brought us to game 2, which again, after getting sort of boat raced in that first game and then having to battle back, it would have been very easy for them to sort of give up, move on to the day off, look forward to the Reds. But they came out. Christopher Sanchez, they needed him to be outstanding, and he absolutely was. Went 7 innings, just solid, like absolute stud, like stopper, whatever you want to call it, performance from Christopher Sanchez. Otto Kemp hit 2 hits. Max Kepler finally got off the schneid and hit a home run. Alec Boehm had 2 hits. And I have to say, my takeaway is very positive from this series against San Diego. I mean, for as bad as they were against the Astros, to come out and take 2 of 3 from the Padres and really could have very easily swept this series had Abel just been okay rather than terrible. I'll take it, especially going into an off day now. You got the Reds this weekend, but it does beg the question because here we are. It's getting closer to that time now where Andrew Painter was expected to be called up. Aaron Nola was thrown off a mound yesterday. You're going to have a decision to make here. And before Aaron Nola got hurt, the general wisdom was one of these starters is going to move to the bullpen, which is going to help your bullpen out. But the way these guys have been pitching, who are you going to move to the bullpen? I don't think Abel's the guy. I hope it's just kind of a bad stretch for him. And because he had the extended time off, missed his start in Atlanta because of the rain, that was why he was where he was. And I hope it's that more so than this is who he is. I mean, he got torn up last year in AAA pitching, was tearing it up this year, came in like gangbusters for the first couple starts here in his career. But who do you move to the bullpen? I mean, I don't want to, like, I wouldn't take Sanchez or Suarez out of there. You're obviously not going to move Wheeler. I don't know if you're going to move Luzardo or not. So it's, what do you do? I mean, as Ruben Amaro used to always say, you can never have too much pitching. So it is a good problem to have. Maybe you start working Painter and Nola back in. Spot starts, I know that Zach Wheeler is very, very big on his normal rest and things like that, so you got to manage that. But it's an interesting dilemma the Phillies are going to have here in the next couple weeks once they feel it's time to pull up Andrew Painter, as well as when it's time for Aaron Nola to come back. I don't know. I don't think you can move any of those guys. I still wouldn't mind seeing them make a trade. I don't know what they're going to do with the outfield either. So it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks. But the way the starting pitching has been, I feel as though that yesterday, that doubleheader, like I feel very, very pleased with where everything is with that and how that played out, because it showed me a lot about the mental makeup of this team, which is oftentimes questioned because of their inability or just flat out refusal to change their approach at the plate sometimes when they all get cold. But very easy game for them to just kind of pack it in, say let's get to the holiday and move it in. So Phillies split the doubleheader. Still 2 games up on the Mets with an off day today. But I'll take it. I mean, I really will take it. I still think somehow this team has like the third or fourth best record in all of baseball, and they have not come close to playing their best baseball yet and putting it all together. If they can somehow put it all together like they did the beginning of last season, kind of go on a run throughout August and into the September and into the postseason, who knows? You never know. But let me know your thoughts on the bullpen situation, because it's an interesting dilemma to have. And I don't know where I would go with that. I mean, I guess a lot's going to be dependent upon Nola and Painter and how they do. But obviously one of them will slide into the fifth spot. They said they're not going to put Painter as a bullpen piece. Is Nola the odd man out? And you look at where he is in his career, and I can think of 2 guys who made this transition, one due to injury and excelled at it, made the Hall of Fame, and that's John Smoltz. John Smoltz was a starter, kept getting injured. The Braves slid him into the bullpen, and he became a pretty damn good closer. Maybe that's something you do and experiment with Nola. I don't know, at least for this season, maybe ease him back, because it's not like he was pitching lights out when he was up here in the first place, or before he got hurt in the first place anyway. Just lots of options on the table. Glad that I don't have to make that decision. All right, let's do some quick housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram, at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. Obviously, you notice we're a little bit late today. I'm off. Obviously, tomorrow we will also be a little bit later. So, just a quick programming note. I'll be fairly early, though, because we have the 4th of July parade. If you want highlights, go to my social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok. As I mentioned, also on my Facebook and my LinkedIn, that is available as well. And just a reminder, there will not be a tournament matchup tomorrow for the 4th of July, partly because it's a holiday, partly because it helps with the scheduling of the tournament. But go. Also, leave a review. Rate 5 stars, 6 stars, whatever. That way we're able to outsmart the algorithm. All right, yesterday's trivia question. I asked you in 93, the Phillies had a 500 or better record against every team in the National League except for 2. Who were they? The first to me was a no-brainer. The Giants, they went 4-8, and I remember they just had no answers for Barry Bonds and the Giants that year, and that's why it was such a huge deal for the Braves to come out of the NL West that year. So they had a 4-8 record against the Giants. And this one surprised me because I thought it would have been maybe St. Louis or Montreal. But they had a losing record against the Cubs. They went 6-7 that year against the Cubs. So thank you for everybody who took guesses. I had a good conversation about the 93 Phillies on the Discord channel. Go to the first link in the description. Come over. Let's talk some Philly sports. Whether you're coaching Little League, crushing your fantasy league, or just rolling up to a bachelor party like a Philly legend, Lotwin Custom Hype Chains bring the energy. Fully customizable, totally unforgettable, and guaranteed to turn you into the MVP of the moment. Great for teams, groomsmen, or anyone who wants to show off with some serious swagger. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD, and get 10% off your own custom hype chain. Lotwin, let's get hyped together. All right, we do have some Sixers news, and they officially re-signed Eric Gordon. It's another one of those moves. I think he provides some veteran leadership for some of these young guys. Obviously, he can still shoot. Excuse me. Just because you get older doesn't mean you lose your touch. So, I mean, I think this was to be expected. So it's not going to be like, oh my goodness, they re-signed Eric Gordon. So we'll see how it goes. But I still say everything comes down to Joe's knees at this point. All right, today is Thursday. Time for Throwback Thursday, brought to you by Beach Caddy. Beach Caddy takes the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. Go to beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your move-in, move-out service as well as your beach cart rental because nobody likes to be stressed on vacation. All right, so for Throwback Thursday today, this one happens to have happened on this day. And we're going to go back to July 3rd, 1965. And on this day in 1965, Dick Allen and Frank Thomas of the Phillies got into a fight before the game. Story goes during batting practice, Johnny Callison and Dick Allen were needling, talking trash, busting balls, whatever you want to say, to Frank Thomas. They said, oh, you should have bunt. Johnny Callison called him and said, hey, you should throw down a bunt because of whatever he did in the previous game. Allen was also busting his balls, called him Lurch, which was a nickname, Lurch from the Addams family. Now, Thomas was a ball buster himself, so it was kind of just going back and forth, but Thomas took offense to what Dick Allen said, and they had some words. Frank Thomas called him Muhammad Al Clay. He's like, what are you trying to be, Muhammad Clay? In reference to Muhammad Ali. Kind of a borderline racial undertone there. So Allen didn't want to take it. This was his second year in the league. Went down, punched Thomas in the face. Thomas got pissed off, took his bat and swung it and hit Dick Allen in the shoulder. Chaos ensued. This was happening at Connie Mack, so the fans were coming in and seeing it. Finally, they got it broken up, retained order, I should say. Phillies lost the game 10-8. Dick Allen, though, to his credit, went 3 for 4 with 4 RBI and 2 triple. Frank Thomas, to his credit, came off the bench and hit a pinch hit home run, but it wasn't enough as the Phillies lost to the Reds. Now, after the game, more fireworks started as the Phillies gave the unconditional release to Frank Thomas, or placed him on waivers, but Gene Mock said and threatened the entire Phillies team with fines and said any Philly who talks about this is going to receive a couple $1,000 fine. The fine was more for Dick Allen because he was involved in it. So he didn't talk about it. And it kind of hurt Dick Allen's relationship with the fans as well as the media because once he was released, Frank Thomas went and said, oh, this is all Dick Allen's fault. He did this. And Allen couldn't respond because he was going to get fined and had the fear of being traded or released or whatever it was. But, of course, the media, because of the political and social climate at the time, they were on Thomas's side. And they gave Dick Allen the business. And really, it wasn't Allen's fault. He talked about it later in his book. But because he couldn't respond to it, it really did not help his relationship with the fans or the media. Now, there were other things that happened moving forward with Dick Allen that certainly didn't help that at all. But this was one of the first block or the foundation of that relationship. And it took years for Dick Allen to actually have that great relationship with the fans. And it all started on this day when he and Frank Thomas got into a fight during batting practice. Dick Allen took a bat off the shoulder, punched Frank Thomas in the face. Thomas gets released. Dick Allen's not allowed to talk about it. And, of course, Frank Thomas is going on his rants. Now, Gene Mock said after the game that it wasn't necessarily 100% due to this incident as to why Frank Thomas was released. He said he should have been released earlier anyway. But because Dick Allen wasn't able to respond, the fans and the media said, oh, Dick Allen got him cut, and really started the journey of the rocky relationship, which you call it rocky. That's at best. It was just not a good relationship between Dick Allen and the fans and the media, which probably also is part of the reason why he wasn't inducted into the Hall of Fame until this senior vote going in later. But that is Throwback Thursday, talking about the time when Frank Thomas and Dick Allen got into a fight on the field during batting practice before the game because Frank Thomas took offense to Dick Allen talking trash. Boys will be boys, I guess. All right, what else happened on June 3rd? Well, first, let's go back to 1977. And on this day in 1977, the Phillies beat the Pirates 11-7. Mike Schmidt went 3 for 3 with 2 walks, a triple, and an inside-the-park home run. It was the second of his career. Now, that triple almost was another inside-the-park home run, but he was thrown out at home. So Mike Schmidt almost had 2 in this game. He would hit another inside-the-park home run in 1982 to give him 3 for the career. But on this day, Phils beat the Pirates. Mike Schmidt with one of his 3 career inside-the-park home runs and almost hit another one, but got thrown out at home. And then fast forward to 2019, Phillies lose to the Braves 9-2 down in Atlanta. Bryce Harper, though, went 1 for 3 with a solo home run. It was his 200th of his career. Also happened to be his 1,000th career hit. And as far as I can tell, and if you're watching this on my social media, you can see that Comcast Sportsnet or NBC Sports Philly, whatever they were then, put this graphic up. It was the first time in Major League Baseball history that a player had a milestone hit and a home run at the same time. So 2,000th career home run, 1,000th career hit for Bryce Harper on this day in 2019. All right, that leads us into today's trivia question, and it's kind of nice when things all line up like this. Everything is June 3rd today, or July 3rd. Even the Dick Allen, Frank Thomas fight are normal this day, and the trivia question also comes to you for July 3rd. Who did the Phillies acquire for this day after the morning after that epic doubleheader? This guy became a key contributor, but who did the Phillies acquire this day in 1993 after that epic 12-hour doubleheader? Hit me up on social media, the Back to the Future voice and text line, 267-495-8531. That'll get you in. Any social media, Discord, what's your answer to the question? Who did the Phillies acquire on this day back in 1993? And then finally today, our greatest individual season in Philly sports history. Yesterday, the Flyers region, Eric Lindros from 1994-95 moves on with 70% of the vote, taking down Bobby Clark from 1975-76. Today, the number 1 seed in the Sixer region is in action. That is Moses Malone from 1982-83. He was the MVP and obviously the missing piece for that Sixers championship. Averaged 24.5 points a game, 15 rebounds. Led the league in both defensive and offensive, almost 10 defensive rebounds and 6 offensive rebounds a game. Led the league in free throws and free throw attempts. He was All-NBA. It was the first team All-NBA defensive team, All-Star, and then famously predicted the Sixers were going to sweep. Turned out they did lose a game to the Bucks, so it was a 5-0. Which, by the way, great song by Pieces of a Dream. Look it up. So that is our number 1 seed, and he's going up against the number 9 seed, Wilt Chamberlain from 1967-68. This was Wilt's last year in Philly. He also was an MVP and an All-Star and an All-NBA selection. Averaged 24.3 points a game, 23.8 rebounds, and then 8.6 assists, which he led the league in total assists that year. The first time a center has ever done that. The Sixers did win the Eastern Division, but lost to the Celtics in the division finals. He was traded shortly after. Now it's your turn. Whose season was better? Moses Malone from 1982-83, Wilt Chamberlain from 67-68. I have to go Moses on this one because it led to a championship. But get your vote in any way you can. Let me know whose season was better. And as always, this day in Philly sports history is a proud member of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com for details on how you can get involved. Don't Don't forget our trivia question. Who did the Phillies acquire on this day in 1993, mere hours after that epic doubleheader against the Padres? Bryce Harper hit home run number 200 on career hit number 1,000 on this day in 2019. Mike Schmidt with an inside-the-park homer. Almost had a second, but was thrown out at home back in 1977. Don't forget, it was Throwback Thursday, and today that was brought to you by Beach Caddy. And we talked Roy Thomas and Dick Allen getting into a fight before the game and really started the downward trajectory of the relationship between Dick Allen, the Philadelphia media, and the Philadelphia fans. We'll have more on anything the Sixers and Flyers do in free agency. We'll also keep you updated on Nola was supposed to throw on the mound yesterday. I've not heard how he's feeling about that, so we'll update you on that. But would love to know your thoughts. What did the Phillies do? Who goes to the bullpen? You can't have enough starting pitching, but without going to a six-man rotation, what are they going to do? Let me know your thoughts. I don't necessarily think it's a bad idea to put Nola in there. I told you, John Smoltz did it and became very successful. Dennis Eckersley did it and became one of the best closers of all time. It's not unprecedented for a starter to go to the bullpen and have success. But with the way everybody else is pitching, man, you don't want to upset that apple cart. But let me know what you think. All right, be safe out there if you're going to any barbecues or watching any fireworks or anything like that. Don't be an idiot. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 3rd, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Thursday. Don't forget, we spent Fridays with AI, even on the 4th of July. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.